So thanks for watching my video. Today I'm going to do the install of the KC Flexera 4 lights on my Jeep Gladiator using the Aux switches. I apologize for the video itself. I've got a bum arm and I've been moving, which is why I have a bum arm, and the tripods are all packed away. So I'm using ladders and I'm fumbling around trying to do the install, hold the camera, all with the arm brace on. So I do apologize for that, but hopefully if you're interested in installing these on your vehicle, this will give you an idea of the process. Yeah, so I'm headed out to Windrock in a couple of months, and there's been some talk with the group that there's going to be some night driving, and I have nothing on my vehicle except for the stock lights, the headlights, and of course the driving lights, which suits me quite well. They're the LEDs, they're bright, but I'm going to need a little bit more visibility if I'm going to do some night driving at Windrock. So I picked up this set of KC Flexera 4s, and they've got the backlighting to them. I think they're a pretty cool light. They're fairly expensive, but they're a cool light. I've got the dual lens pattern, so I've got the spots and then the diffused. So you got spot and flood, and we're gonna do the install today. So the KC, of course, is known for their yellow. I'm not a big fan of yellow on my vehicle. My vehicle's blue with red accents, so we're going to kind of change things up a little bit, right? So we purchased these, and we'll be swapping out those trim pieces. And I also got some stickers to replace the KC emblem on the lens covers. So, all right, so let's get started with the install. There's a couple different things that you're going to need in order to remove the cowls, because I'm going to do the KC cowl mounts. You're going to have to remove the hood bolt here, and then you have to remove these 4 bolts. This bolt will actually be replaced by the bolt and the washer that comes with the mount system. Now, strangely enough, the hinge bolt actually uses this T45. The cowl bolts use a T40, but the new bolt uses a hex. So you're going to need a 5/32 hex bolt for that, and also the adjustment knob here. For the mounting bolt, you're going to need an 11/16 wrench or a 17mm. Both will work just fine. I do recommend some painter's tape, because you're going to be running close to the cowl for some of this stuff. So I'm going to put some painter's tape down where necessary to stop myself from hitting the paint with a wrench. The way I like to ding up my paint is if I'm off-roading. And then, the hex will also remove the bezel bolts so that I can place these rings. So let's get started. Since we're going to remove the hood hinge screw first, I'm going to go ahead and put some painter's tape over the cowl to prevent myself from dinging it up. You're going to want an extension, because see how deep that is. So remove that, and then we'll take the T40 remove the old cowl bolts. And then you just pull the cowl right off. So this is kind of what it looks like now. The dongle on the light itself that's going to plug into the harness, which is over here on the garage floor, that's not long enough to necessarily get through that area. So there's a little foam piece here, and what I want to do is I want to lay the harness down in there, and I'll just kind of lay it in the engine bay for right now and put the ends through to make sure that I've got enough room for what I'm trying to do, and the harness itself will come through here, and then the dongle off the light will come between the cowl and the Jeep, come down here and then plug into it, and it'll be located inside of this area. We get it all in, we'll secure it along this this track. But for right now, I'm just going to set it in just like that. And I'll do so on the other side. Now this harness has position for relay, an inline fuse, and it's got a spot for a switch. It comes with all of that. I am not going to use the switch or the relay, so I'm going to cut the wires off here. The black is ground, red is power, white is for the backlit, and I am going to attach them to my auxiliary switches here so that I can use the switches inside the Jeep to turn off the different features. So I'm going to use one of the low voltage connectors for the backlight, it doesn't draw much, and then one of the higher rated ones for the actual lights. So I'll be cutting this all up and running new wires to the battery and to the switches. So tell you, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this. I'm gonna get the other cowl off and make sure that wire is fit in there, and then I'll start it back up. All right, so we've got the other cowl off. Let's do the same thing here. Run that up underneath that foam, and then that'll be enough, I think, to get that connected. All right. So we've got the wire in there. Let's go ahead and get the mount attached. So with the mount, this is going to replace one of those cowl bolts, as I mentioned. It's actually the spacers underneath of it, and then the hood hinge bolt goes through this. thread it on just enough so it sits there. I've got the spacer underneath. I'll take my T45. And I'll reattach that hood bolt. I'll tighten that up when I've got everything put together. So this screw and washer will go through here, and it will secure this spot of the cowl once we put that back in. Now, not that it's not simple, but I think that for my purposes, I want to swap out the bezels before I actually mount the lights, because I know I'm going to go this route. That way I don't have to do it when it's actually on the vehicle. And the bezel comes off, and then the colored piece comes off. Set that new colored piece back in with the indentations facing up, because the actual cowl will go there. And then we just tighten those bolts back down. They have used blue Loctite on these bolts, and it's still good, but if so, now I've set the bolt down inside of the mount, and I'll take my 11/16 wrench. So that's nice and tightened down. I'll go ahead and connect the pigtail to the harness. And there we go. So that looks pretty good. So now we'll reinstall the cowl. Position the pigtail so it doesn't get in the way. It's nice and flush. Now we'll take our T45, or the T40 rather, and we'll put in. So the cowl hood bolts are slightly different. So the two short ones actually go on the sides, and then the longer one, you're only going to use one of these, will go back on the top. And that's all good. So then you just repeat on the other side. I'm not going to show you that. So I almost forgot to show you the new replacement bolt that goes over top of the spacer. You put it in with the 5/32 hex. Good and secure. So I've got both lights actually installed. Now I haven't tightened them down. As I mentioned, that 5/32 hex is used to tighten this, and I'll figure out exactly where I want that aimed, what the best spot is. I'll probably just lock it in flat for right now, but I'll do that later. I'll test it. I'll show you some views with the lights off and with the lights back on so that you see some of the benefits of having them, and then I'll figure out what the proper adjustment is, and I'll lock that in for permanent. But they're on the truck. They look good. I like the red bezels. I think the red bezel is really cool. It works with the red highlights that we've got on the Jeep. So I think those are cool. So now it's just about getting the wiring done. So as I mentioned before, the harness is a general purpose type harness, and if you're going to use their switch and you're going to use their relay, then you can do the standard harness. But because I'm using my auxiliary switches, I'm going to connect via the auxiliary wires. So I'm going to go ahead and snip the harness. All I need is the red, the white, and the black. And see, they've got the ground for the black already with an eyelet on it, which I'll connect to the negative on the battery, and then we'll just utilize that. So let's disconnect this. And there we go. That is all I need. So what I will do is I will obviously connect the ground last, but I will strip these down so that I can get them connected. So for this piece, I fast forwarded this video. I don't think you want to see my clumsy attempt at doing the wiring. All right, so we've got those wires stripped down. This one has more power to it, so we'll be using that for the lights themselves. And we use the blue and purple, which is lower voltage, for the backlit. Just go ahead and get some butt connectors on them. So once again, I fast forwarded this piece just to save a little bit of time. It's definitely hard doing this stuff with an arm brace on. All right, so I think that will hold. Let me get the heat gun on it. Okay, so that should be good, but before I finalize the and do the heat gun on it, I'm going to go ahead and test real quick to make sure that the lights will work. And then once I know that I've got the wires properly connected, then I'll go ahead and heat that shrink wrap up. So both lights are working for the standard lighting. And it's a little hard to see in the daylight. I'll show you some night shots a bit later, but the backlighting is working as well. So we've got good electrical connections. I'll go ahead and finish off that. Got that done. All right, so now all there is to do is tighten up that wiring, make sure that's good and secure inside the engine bay, and we'll be rocking and rolling. So the way that I've got it connected, and I'll wrap these connectors with some anti-friction tape, but just to further lock down the waterproofness. But the way we've got it wired is on switch 2. Switch 1 I'm using for my air compressor. So switch 2 is being used for the lights, and then the backlighting is off of switch 4. And I chose switch 4 because it's probably the furthest away switch, the last one, and I will probably leave that on in accessory mode so that the backlighting is on all the time, unless for some reason I want to turn it off. But when I start the vehicle, that backlighting will be on. Hopefully it'll be a cool look. It is a little orangish, but I don't think overall it's going to clash too much with the overall appearance of the vehicle. So I think we're good. Let me close the hood up and I'll show you the covers. All right, so you've got the KC lights. They look great. I think they're fantastic, actually. So we have the covers. Now I've already put these stickers on them. I got the sticker. These come only in yellow because that's what KC does. But I found these stickers on Etsy, and you just put them on there, peel off the backing, and you're good. So that's what it's going to look like with the covers on. So I think that's a pretty good look. I know it's not all about looks, I get it, but to a certain extent, a lot of the things we do to our rigs are about looks. These look good and they're very functional. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to button down the wiring, make sure everything's good and secure, and then when it gets dark, I'll go out and I'll do a light test so that you can see what the lights actually look like in the dark. All right, and there we go. The wiring's all buttoned up, everything's squared away. I love them. They're super bright. I'm not even sure if you can tell on this. I can't even look at them. They're blinding me. Better from this angle. So they're fantastic. Like I said, I will go ahead and do a test at night to kind of show the effectiveness of the lights, and then I'll button this thing up. I will try to leave links to the Etsy stickers that I used for the covers. And if you guys have got any questions, of course, you can always ping me. So hold tight for the night test. So I got a chance to get out and
film the lights in the dark. So you can see the backlit function is on. Remember, I've got those connected to auxiliary switch 4 so I can turn it off, but I've had it on underneath the covers. It doesn't seem to have a problem. They're not bright enough to create any real heat. So they look pretty cool. All right, so let's get in the vehicle and see how they look. All right, so this is the view out of the Jeep in the dark without any lights on. So I'll go ahead and turn on the headlights. Okay, so that's the headlights on regular, and then the running lights. Brighten it up a little bit, and then the bright lights back to regular. So let's try the KCs. Yeah, that's quite a bit of difference. And if you notice the side pattern, it does a really good job of illuminating off to the side with the floods. And then the spots get plenty of depth back there. So once again, let's turn them off. And then let's turn them back on. So I'm very pleased. For just 2 lights, they do a great job.
So that was the install of the KC Flexera 4 lights on the Gladiator using the aux switches. It's a pretty easy upgrade, and I think it's a valuable upgrade. Hopefully we're going to get a lot of use out of this when we go to Windrock in a couple of months. If you like the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you want to see all my future content, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss those videos. If you have any questions, leave it down below. I will put a link to the Etsy stickers. So if anyone's interested, they are sold in pairs, which I wasn't sure of off the top. But yeah, thanks for watching.